their successful 5 point. We're hoping this season that when they find a gold lead, they can play through it successfully. And Kasim was a big tool for that early game, right?
He was, and I don't know. Doth my eyes deceive me, Caster Oak? That is a lethal tempo on the Jarvan.
Oh, yeah, it is. That is lethal tempo.
That is okay. Okay. So do you know what? Yeah, I've dropped this on you. Do you want to run us through that?
Yeah. I mean, it's something. So I mean, Jarvan has a lot of different build options. I think penetration Jarvan is the one I'm normally used to, but lethal tempo definitely. Remember, this is 12.2, so lethal tempo got some changes in 12.3 to reduce its early game threat. They introduced a scaling component to the rune, so instead of getting a flat amount of attack speed, you get increased attack speed per level when you get those auto attacks in. As what a just disgusting champion. Get it off my screen.
So this is something that a couple of top laners in LJL have done in the past. Notably, Ebby, yes, we're doing this already. Sacking the first wave, going, I'm not going to take these range minions, but what I'm going to do is deny the enemy their experiences in the bot lane at level 2 hit for Honey and for NT as they're going to go aggressive, but Kassin with a very nice counter gank means that it's just going to be flash traded on Honey for Nemas.
Yeah, but I think you say fantastic counter, but Honey and Enti, because they find so much HP for so early, Kassin's whole clear is a little bit stunted now because he has to show bot side, he gets to show how many camps he's done too. So once now has complete knowledge of where his clear is going to be, knows whether he wants to contest him on Scuttle depending on how Jet and Paz are set up in their lanes. I think actually a big win for Sengoku.
Yeah, drawing that early pressure and not getting anything out of the Jarvan. I mean, we've seen Jarvans previously, not in this league, but in many others, get put behind in the early game and never really able to affect the map at all. Once now, wrapping around for a gank in the mid lane onto Kaito, does have that passive ready, so the fear is possible. Will go down onto once, he throws out, the wind becomes lightning and isn't able to find anything more. Now Kassin in the top side will get spotted out with this ward. The flag and drag doesn't connect, and neither team has decided whether they actually want to take this fight. Jet just trading without 5-point strike up against Kaito, but will back away.
It looks like Enti's also managing to get spotted out in the bot side jungle, and a lot of rotations through mid lane for essentially nothing. Just fishing for a couple of things, and best place to be fishing is in the river. So
I have heard that.
Yeah. It's got fishes in it. And the duck that shall not be named.
What is it? Socks Off.
You can't name it.
Consumer as well. Devour Breadcrumbs, something like that.
Yeah.
It's got loads of different names. I've heard Socks Off. I've heard Michael, which it seems like just two very different vibes there.
Feels like a Michael to me, though. I don't know. I knew a Michael in school who was very mean. Very nasty
was
little
he a
boy.
duck?
He wasn't a duck. No, he was a human male.
Oh, yeah. Those are the
worst. Yeah. With once rotating into his top side, he's gone through top clear, but actually bot scuttle has yet to be taken. Resets coming in for both support and AD carries. I didn't realize this. Everybody's gone for a reset other than their mid laners. And top lane as well. So Honey opting for double sword boots, whereas Hybrids opted for double swords. Whoa, what's it called? Dagger. Oh my god.
Dagger.
My brain just went middle cart.
It just completely gone. Well, do you know what? I hope no one builds like the slowing item, the rooting item in mid lane, as I still don't know what that's called.
Everfrost.
Kassin hovering around. Thank you very much. Kassin
Looking
hovering. Nema
Oh.
throws out a hook. He's not got the aimbot on today. Don't worry, guys. He
didn't have vision.
New split. He's still trying to find the switch. Okay.
It's a 50-50.
New split. Let it go. Let it go.
That's fine. Anyway, once actually, luckily enough, gets a really easy clear point from this because unlike Kassin, who straight from those Krugs, he went through to bot side, means that his Krugs and his race actually end up spawning on the same time. Because once gets a really easy clear point, and I think that general lack of vision on where once is really benefiting his laners. Generally, it seems like that Sengoku know where Kassin is and are able to play aggressively, and then on top of that, through that even, they found a little bit of a CS lead in those lanes.
Yeah, Paz up a couple of waves on Nap, and we didn't really talk too much about these top laners in the pregame because they've been around for so long. And hold the phone there, Nema getting aggressed onto, doesn't have a flash, and will just donate this one over in the battle between the former Axis bot lane. Honey grabs first blood.
Fantastic for them. This also secures in this first Drake. The Cloud Drake, notoriously difficult to take early, but they get access to that rotation from AD and support, and are going to pick this up as well. And this is a fantastic starting early game for SG, especially because I think a Thresh Aphelios really should be taking command of this lane.
They really should be, but they haven't been able to do it. Once has gotten down there, gotten the pressure off, and Kassin, aside from that, level 2 counter engage, have whatever you will with it, hasn't been able to make it happen. Jet now trading with those 5-point strikes and the passive autos in the mid lane has actually built a healthy CS lead for himself and picked up the Mercury treads too. So Kaito really not having a lot of fun here.
Yeah, Merc's kind of, I think, a default when you're looking at the comp that CGA have managed to draft, so I'm not surprised to see him picked out early here. A lot of people default to that, especially in the mage MU, because it means you get so much lane presence, and I think Jet is abusing that really well here. As he's very eager to just shroud and walk forward to contest as much CS as possible.
And this was one of the worries that we had about Kaito coming out of Academy. Looked decent there, but definitely not a player that you go LJL ready almost. And we're seeing him suffer here. Nema jumped onto by NT, but Kassin is around, will land a double knock-up and actually blocks the Super Mega Death Rocket, saving his support by the skin of his teeth.
Nemo actually, whilst that happened and whilst we saw the Super Mega Death Rocket get blocked up by Kassin, Nemo went for a really smart hook there. If it had worked off, it would have been really clean. He tried to hook to the side to just catch Honey on that lollipop end of the death sentence. Didn't end up working out, but was pretty. I'm seeing where you're talking about because he's going for some tricky techniques.
As once is going for a tricky play onto this Herald.
His whole jungle's up, by the way. He doesn't care.
CJ have spotted this one out. Both AD carries still in the bottom side of the map, but all 8 other players in the game are here. Kassin going forward, actually gets the steal and gets the ult onto once as well. Wilbet taken down by Jet on the other side, but here comes Kaito, picks up a kill. It's a 1-for-1 so far, and the resets are not coming out though. Jet is still alive, Nema isn't. So many kills going over to Sengoku, and Kaito will be forced to run this one away, but it's not gonna happen for you, mate. I think that was a double for Paz and a double for Jet as well. Yes, you get the Herald CGA, but it costs you so much more.
Yeah, suddenly a 3k gold lead spurts out of nowhere, and this is the dangers of taking this Herald. I think we're going to get a replay on here. We're going to see actually some really aggressive play from CGA not really work out too well. So this still fantastic to see here, and it looks like this is going to be a really successful play. Off once, getting almost immediately blown up. But look at him managing to remain on a slither of HP as Nap and Kaito commit so much for him. This in turn means they have nothing left to fight out the rest of the fight and get picked off one by one. Ultimately, very good for Sengoku, and I think suddenly, I think especially Kaito now flashed down with a 2-killer Kali being put against in lane. It's very scary for him.
Yeah, very, very scary. One of the key things that we did see in that fight was actually the Shadow Surge, the ultimate from this Vex from Kaito, blocked by NT right at the start. So there was no possibility for him to get a reset off. And maybe if he'd been able to dive onto that backline with a little bit more ease, could have been an advantageous fight for CGA. But as it stands, like you said, gold lead for Sengoku, kill lead, objective lead as well. And I'm sorry to say, but this is looking a little bit classic CGA.
Honestly, on top of this, it's kind of, that fight is almost a prophecy for how the future fights are going to go, because you mentioned that Kaito gets the ultimate blocked by NT. This is how it panned out in the DFM Rascal Jester game as well. And when you're looking at the amount of damage, potential damage mitigation they have through the Shroud, through this Xin Zhao ulti, as well as NT being such a beefy frontliner, it's going to be very difficult for Kaito to play this aggressive Shadow Surge reset game.
We'll have to see if he's able to do it. Kassin hovering around the top side here. Nap has a lot of setup CC, and there's a fair bit of damage as well, so they could look to make this work. Cast
Fantastic.
beautifully duked away from by Paz. That was exceptional.
Yeah, those feet work. He's feeling it with the fleet footwork. He manages to dodge out the cast there, and it's just gonna.
Does he know Cassin's here?
Just. Won't say
He
anything.
doesn't know. Tries to dash away. Isn't able to get out in time, but once is coming through. Can Paz buy enough time? It looks likely. Flashes away from the Cataclysm. Gets the last auto down onto Cassin. Beautiful, beautiful stuff.
Paz is playing this so well, and he does a fantastic job there of baiting out Cassin, repeatedly looking for that, and that exchange there specifically with the Cataclysm was so clean, fantastically played, picking up another kill now, and suddenly really asserting his dominance in the top lane. I think Nap was really waiting for this level 9 point, so he had max points in E, and he's really not been given the opportunity to get there. We're seeing, even from this aggression here, I think, look at this. Look at the Cataclysm in tandem with the ulti, immediately avoiding any follow-up damage. Fantastic from Paz.
And that just felt like the entire time Paz was going, I know exactly what you're going to do, and I know exactly how to counter it. Probably sniffing out Cassin, waiting for him in that bush, and is able to find the turnaround 3-0 and 2 now on the Graves, looking like a bona fide carry himself in a composition where we were looking at maybe the Akali and the Jinx to fulfill that role. TP coming down here. Where?
Nap used TP to rotate down to bot lane to get this Herald off. On top of that, they get to secure a little bit of early pressure. So they're not playing on the back foot, even though they committed a lot to top lane. They know these ultimates are coming up again. They didn't burn any summoners, so they pick up, not only do they pick up first tire for this team, they also have all 4 members here to pick up second Drake. So they're making no attempts to fight, maybe starting here, a little bit skirmish. Death Sentence comes out.
Oh, Nap is a little bit on the wrong side here. Cassin able to flag and drag away the box thrown up by Nema. Shuriken flip doesn't connect either. So, do you know what? Credit to them, CJ, with a very strong response. Once is looking for Kaito, though, will not be able to find him. But that small ingress into the jungle just there is going to hand mid-priority over to Sengoku and funnel a couple more plates into Paz.
Yeah, this is kind of that equivalent exchange for everything that's gained us lost.
Cassin goes over the wall. Jet's going to follow him into the Cataclysm, flashes away and takes out the Akali. Hybrid will be grateful to pick up that kill, but it was all engineered by Cassin.
I mean, Cassin doing a fantastic flash there. A lot of people default to immediately flashing away from the Akali, gaining as much distance as possible. Flashes towards the team instead, and this forces that first usage of the ultimate precision, first precision. It's a gold.
Perfect execution.
Perfect execution.
Yeah,
my God, doesn't matter. To force this perfect execution towards his team members. Nemo's there to drop the lantern down and pick up a kill there. A little bit of over-aggression from Sengoku.
A little bit there. Once did get that red buff steal, but I don't think that's worth your mid laner dying.
Yeah, Jet just playing a little bit over-aggressive here, and a very clean pickup. And not only that, but it looks like Hybrid picks up the goal for that too. So very good from CJ, who were bleeding a little bit. Suddenly managed to stabilize just a little bit, and that was through repeated aggressive plays. They tried to make a play in top side, and Paz just played it a little bit too cleanly, but they didn't step on the they didn't take a step back and try and reevaluate. They went straight into another proactive play through this bot side, secured this Drake in this first turret just to create a little bit more pressure on map. And now they're continuing these proactive plays and looking for this Herald. Nemo's on the rotate, but SG are already there. How are they going to stance this fight? Especially with Graves getting this shove in on top side. Lot of bleeding.
Yeah, but he's not going to be able to rotate first. Cataclysm will be coming up soon. Once dodges away from the hook, and Nema will get taken out right at the start of the fight. Kaito TP's onto some jumpers as Jet pops himself over the wall. Nap will throw him away with the cask and flashes back out of there, but Jet will follow through and pick up the kill with the 5-point strike. Herald there went down. I don't know who actually picked that one up. Well, no one quite yet, and that will despawn. But Sengoku get the fight off CJ over-aggressing.
Yeah, big win. They pick up 2 kills. On top of that, they unlock top lane tier 1 too. So no tier 1s remaining. Well, I say that, but
playing with fire a little bit here. Once not quite caught out with the death sentence.
Yeah.
But this AD carry here for CGA. not in the worst spot currently. Was able to pick up that shutdown onto Jet. Did get solo tower gold a little while ago, so should be fairly strong in the fights, but we didn't see it here.
And yeah, and here we get to see who actually picked up the Herald. It does look like it's going to be opted towards CGA, as Cassin's putting a lot of numbers on that. But this initial Super Mega Death Rocket onto Nemo, who's already been chunked out, was so important. And really is the continuation of how Sengoku find a successful fight here. Alongside that, CGA obviously getting very split up here. And, I mean, Jet's just... I mean, a combination of really good play and them being so gold ahead. This mid and top side means they get to do stuff like that.
I'll tell you what, the new LJL mid laners have been looking pretty good so far. Obviously, Yaharong in the previous game on the Renekton, and Jet this time around putting in work on the Akali. 3-1-1. Yeah, it's not the most impressive scoreline, but I think the level of play that he's been showing us has been incredibly impressive, and it means that Sengoku, first game of the year, first game of the splits, built themselves a 6k gold lead. That was a little bit rude on Tenema. I don't know why you're doing that, honey. Maybe feels a little bit betrayed by his ex-support, and honestly, if we're talking about who got a better side of the trade, it's looking like Honey right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's even got a Kench to peel him out whenever he needs to, like an onion. Because onions have layers and you peel them, you know? You know. Anyway, we see Paz.
We're really doing Shrek references. Kassin likes to invade. He's possibly got a bridge too far here behind enemy lines, but if he can get a strong flank off onto Paz or onto Honey, maybe there's an angle that he can play out. The difficulty with catching out Paz is this build, and they're going to look for it here. Nemo's on the rotate. Yeah, he hasn't spotted out Kassin, and doesn't want to go for it.
Not for it.
It's fair enough.
No, it's very scary.
He's going to take out this mid lane tower and get even more gold funneled into him. CGA, don't really know what you were doing there, guys.
Yeah, it's because, well, Paz is so strong, and this specific build that he's opted into here, the Bloodthirster in combination with the Shield Bow, means that unless you have high DPS on him, he will lifesteal through everything. And I'm not kidding there. He will literally just sustain through everything. Gragas does not have enough damage to follow that up, especially with the Chem Tank. And that means that pick options to him are incredibly limited. They're probably waiting for him to group up, as Kassin's going to look for the steal here.
Yeah, goes into the Dragon Pit, but will go down for his sins. Jet now hunting onto Nema, who is forced to flash away. And every time Sengoku grabs something, they get a kill to boot with it, and that means that they can push the envelope just that little bit further. 4 members grouping now in the mid lane, focusing onto this tower.
And I'm repeatedly loving the adaptations and Jinx builds. We see the rapid fire come in because Honey identifies, especially with this gold lead, wants to be sieging as much as possible, and I think the rapid fire really benefits that. We're seeing them, they use it effectively in mid lane. They're trying to get as much potential damage turret damage even on map to continue to press their lead, because with each turret that goes down, it gives MT more space to continue to create vision around this bot side to secure them that soul that they're fishing for.
And I mean, it secures more space for Jet and for once as well to move into this jungle and surprise anyone that they find there. And it's probably not going to be a particularly pleasant surprise if you run into this Akali. Kaito might be experiencing that just now, as those 5-point strikes deal a fair bit of damage. The perfect execution wasn't quite up for Jet, but you know, if it was, he is diving forward.
Yeah, Jet is playing fantastically in tandem with this team too. I think the big thing is pressure out Nemo. Because Flash has been used basically on cooldown from Nemo, he's unable to set up this vision in bot side or continue to establish vision. It means that actually when we look at blue side vision as a whole, it's looking rather stunted.
There's not too much there, but they haven't been able to. They've just been continually forced out. We see it once again as Once is forcing into the enemy jungle, and this is a little bit cleaner than we saw from Sengoku in summer. These new players that they've brought in are really starting to gel, and Kassin once again on a flank angle, but this is very, very deep, and Honey is nowhere near you. He's forced to flag and drag out, and that means he's just going to take more of his HP in damage. It's a nice attempt, but you just don't have the position to do it.
Yeah, it's going to be a back and forth for Kassin to continually find space to walk in and get into these flank options, but then for his team to also find the space to walk up and potentially look for them. So hopefully Kassin can continue to avoid getting picked off here whilst this is happening, because especially now that we're hitting 20 minutes, Baron was spawned now, and you look at the potential DPS option from SG, a single kill could very easily rotate into an early Baron for this team, and they're looking for it again. Just look at the pressure. He dashes in, no other team members actually in position, but because of the vision, they had to respect and continually walk back.
And granted, Sengoku are playing like this against one of the teams that maybe we were thinking are going to be a bit weaker in the split.
Yep.
But this is some damn good League of Legends. It is controlled, it is disciplined, it is a deep TP into the backline from Jet. Kassin isn't going to be able to commit to this Baron, but it's a fair chunk onto once and onto Honey. In goes Kaito. Cask onto two as well, but look at Jet on the backside, finds the Shuriken clip onto Kassin, but that's not the target that you necessarily want to be hitting. Gets the assassination down onto Kaito, and now CGA are split. The Baron goes to Sengoku, and there's three members of the blue side on the wrong side. The Eat keeps Honey alive for a moment longer as Hybrid picks up the first kill of the fight. For CGA, flashes forward, but doesn't quite have the damage to take out any more members. Yes, Honey will drop, and Nema pops himself over the wall, but he will not be alive for much longer. Sengoku, Ace, and a Baron.
Fantastic fight for them. This flank from Akali means that CGA, whilst we saw an initial fantastic shadow surge come out from Kaito, that disengage from NT, plus then we're going to see here this TP come in so strong. I think he did such a fantastic job of creating so much space for his team, because you can see here SG really chunked out here. Shadow Surge comes in and this team gets separated. It's looking really good for CJ, but Jet pops into the scene. Perfect execution, and suddenly CJ group up and they all move back, and this means that Kassin gets locked into Baron Pit. On top of that, the amount of damage from Akali means one kill gets picked over. The second for Honey is they pick off Kassin, who's locked into Baron Pit. They pick up the Baron, and then it's a 3v5 for this team comp. They do find the return kill eventually onto Honey, but it's 5-1. Ultimately, a fantastic fight for SG.
Yeah, as another good one for Sengoku. Oh, Jet, you are making an excellent first impression, son.
He's feeling himself on maybe one of the best champions you can be playing this patch, but nonetheless looking incredibly dominant. And it's through just playing on knife's edge, repeatedly using perfect execution to force summoners out, and this in turn has led to so many successful plays that they're hunting out Nema.
Yeah, and he's going to be caught out. Nema pops over the wall. Crescent Guard used very early into the fight, but it's just going to be a single kill. Gives the reset to Honey. Bonus attack speed. Tower going down. Inhib going to be the next focus.
And whilst they're pressing this out, Kaito's on top side. They have no wave clear to help limit this Baron. Paz has already got this wave down on bot side too. This is double inhibitor, potentially unlocked for SG, as they do get a little bit of standing gold. They get that bonus bounty into the top lane turret, but we don't know how much it's going to have in terms of value, because look at this. Double inhib down, and look at the siege potential coming out from SG. This could be potentially game ending with 4 seconds on Nema to respawn.
Yeah, they will just back it out though. Soul point available in a few seconds time, and if you are a CGA fan right now, you are inhaling copium, hopium, whatever it is, in amounts that are probably not good for your health. 12,000 gold lead for Sengoku. Double inhib down at 24.5 minutes, like you already mentioned. Soul point as well. This is basically as good a start as you could want to your LJL 2022 career.
Also fantastic for, this is SJ's ideal spot to be pressuring up with a first inhib unlock. This gives Jet free access to play aggressively within that lane without fear of potential turret dive coming into action, you know, any turret counter damage. But with double inhibitor, this means that Paz can solely remain in the top lane, push this wave in, and then the Jet and the rest of his team can play together to push in this mid and bot side and create more pressure around the Baron respawn that's coming in the next 2 minutes. Why are you laughing? What's going on?
Oh, no, Melvin Isleworth just sent me a picture of the Sengoku logo going, Sengoku send their regards. And I mean, it's been a dominant performance by them so far. A couple of individual members of CGA, well, one individual member, Hybrid, has been standing strong, still sat at 3-1 with a CS advantage, is not what I necessarily expect out of this Aphelios. He's been playing well on 3 items, but fundamentally, the rest of his team is so far behind, and Honey could just outrange him with these rockets, with this rapid fire cannon, that he's never really been able to find proper access. Once flayed up with the Everfrost as well to lock him in place. Takes 60% of his HP, but look at Jet here, just cheating down towards the bot side, recognizes that he could pull multiple members of CGA away from this tower and free up the siege for Sengoku.
Yeah, it's really up to Jet now to dictate how they want this fight to happen. So long as he remains relatively safe in this lane, but still there to potentially pressure for the 5v5, this can mean SG could unlock this 3rd turret. And once this 3rd turret is unlocked, it will be doomed for CGA. This is their turning point. Death Sentence lands onto once.
But still, it's not a priority target. It's not a Jinx. It's not an Akali. And so unless you start hitting these priority targets, ultimately you can't follow forward. You can't find the engage. And honestly, this game looks a little bit out of your hands at this point. And I love what Sengoku are doing here. They're not retreating. They're not backing off. They are keeping CGA penned in their base. They know that they've got the advantage and they are looking to continue the pressure. Inhib Tower is finally going to be the focus as Honey is looking to throw this one down. Half HP on the Jinx, but I don't think he really cares about that too much as once dives into the backline. Big rockets onto the other side. The super mega death rocket does go wide, though. No members of CGA falling down, but their base is in tatters.
Yeah, that's all 3 inhibitors now down. Mid lane and bot lane inhibitor are going to respawn shortly as Hybrid's aggressing onto Jet. But the thing is, Baron under a minute as the Aphelios ulti just barely misses onto Jet, and this means that even scarier for them now, because with this top lane inhibitor being unlocked, Baron in under a minute respawn, I wouldn't be surprised to see SG unlock that again, and we're going to see how Sengoku can look to close this game up.
Yeah, it's playing by the numbers at this point. The real question for Sengoku is not whether they win, or if they win, it's how they win. How they've been playing for the last sort of 10-15 minutes has been exceptional, right?
Yep.
They need to continue that. They need to keep it looking clean, get these waves shut out, use the pressure from those super minions. Obviously, because you've taken all 3 inhibs, you have got 2 of those down now. Kassin, not really where he wants to be. Jet proto building forward, pops into the shroud. Execution used, and Kaito might just be the next target. Welcome to the LJL, Jet. You are looking exceptional.
He's having a performance of a year on this champion. Fantastic here. Forces out Kassin in a 1v2 as the one player who would be contesting this Baron, which means it gets unlocked for Sengoku again. And Crest Gaming are left sitting about how they're going to potentially be handling 6 siege minions come in at the same time with this triple inhib pressure come in.
With the Baron buff too, they could probably just take your base by themselves, but Sengoku not going to be forced to rely on that. As once dives forward onto Nap, gets a fair chunk onto him as Nexus Tower number 1 falls down, and that's going to prop the Get Excited passive, but Jinx gets eaten up, and now Nap will be the focus. Kaito diving into the backline, Paz grabbing another kill. Kassin will fall on the Fountain Hybrid, trying to do everything he can, but it's not going to be enough. Sengoku, in commanding fashion, will take their first win of 2022.
And yeah, very clean coming out from this comp. Only